When was the last time you had to recite the National Pledge? The National Pledge says, I pledge my love and loyalty. The first two lines of the National Pledge say, I pledge my love and loyalty to my country, Sierra Leone. Hi, I'm Mackay, and I'm here to talk about cultivating a habit of volunteering. We have made promises to this great nation that we have failed to fulfill. The vow in the National Pledge should be solemn. One may ask, what is volunteering? Volunteering to me simply means sacrificing your personal resources, especially your time and energy, to give back to our communities. The famous quote by John F. Kennedy goes, ask not what your country has done for you, but what you can do for your country. This has been used many a time without being put into practice, especially in Sierra Leone. We must cultivate a habit of service to our communities and, by extension, the nation. This might sound like an oversimplification of the issues and problems we face. Our problems are too complex to be simply extinguished by merely cultivating the culture of volunteering. But we have to realize that the attitudes that produce these problems are so deeply ingrained in our collective mentalities that unless we're able to replace them with positive ones, we may not be able to turn things around. Sierra Leoneans have successfully become experts at identifying all the flaws in our society. If we go out today, everyone knows the problems. We have failed at going beyond the lip service to meaningfully contribute to development in our country. One might ask, what are the advantages of volunteering? Volunteering could improve a diversification. There are limited opportunities for most of us in this country. There's a lack of diversity and in different fields. Volunteering could provide the perfect outlet to pursue the things we are passionate about without having to give up our academic or professional lives. I had the opportunity of listening to Yusuf Jallo, a popular Sierra Leonean folklore singer and storyteller. He said, Sierra Leoneans cannot afford to have just lawyers, engineers, doctors, accountants, and the usual white-collar jobs. Rather, we need these professionals actively involved in other fields like arts, music, entertainment, fashion, which would actively impact community building. One might ask, what are the sectors we can volunteer in? There are lots of sectors that we can contribute our energies for development in our communities. Take the health sector, for example. We're almost at the bottom end of every health statistic index annually. The life expectancy, the infant mortality rate are abysmal, not to speak of the maternal mortality rate. We suffer from diseases caused by poor waste disposal management, causing diseases like malaria and diarrhea. How can we volunteer in the health sector? We need not be professionals or medical doctors or nurses to contribute. We can go out, help in the waste disposal management in our communities. We can teach the kids in our communities how to dispose of garbage and teach safe and proper hygiene methods. Education. The adult literacy rate is 48.4%. We often laugh about the clerical mistakes found in official documents and bloopers on social media. But we often forget that this is a direct reflection of the educational standards in our country. Admittedly, one might argue, English is not the language is not a lingua franca. But we simply can do better. At a minimum, we must expect professionals to communicate in the official language of the country. How can we contribute in the educational sector? You can identify kids in your communities, in the places we work and live. You can help them with their assignments. You can volunteer your time to mentor kids, help them with the career path, help the children we live among to be mentors for the future, to be mentors for the next generation. Tradesmen, for example, can offer classes to willing kids in the community in other fields like tailoring and carpentry. For environment, in most cases, it seems the protection of our environment or the preservation of our environment is a huge scientific and complex term. In our part of the world, it's considered a new phenomenon. We have a massive plastic disposal problem. It adds to the garbage in the communities, coupled with poor drainage and other problems, which we're all aware of. This causes flooding annually. One might ask, how can I volunteer? A great way we can promote volunteering in Sierra Leone and our society is by introducing a national concept. The Ubuntu philosophy in South Africa, when translated, means I am because we are. This standard reflects selfless contribution to the community. Can we think of a term as Sierra Leoneans that cuts across all ethnic divisions, that we can all identify, that would serve as a constant reminder of our commitment to giving back to the country? We are renowned and adored for our warmth and hospitality. Different ethnicities have terms which they refer to for volunteering work that can be used, but I think it would be a better idea if we can find a single term we can all agree on. The Mendes, for example, have Tegloma, which means development, progress. The Timnis have Sabano, which means now we get here, taking responsibility for the development in our societies. Now, there may be problems or counter-arguments that might hinder volunteering in our society. One might argue the time. We have busy schedules, we live busy lives, especially the traffic in Freetown. Imagine coming from work in town, heading to some place around the peninsula, you are asked to volunteer. We cannot afford to make volunteering seem like a demanding chore or burdensome. We can give back to our communities if we simply give back a day in the year, 24 hours out of 365 days. We could devise a comfortable plan. 2 hours a month at the end of a year could give you a day out of 365 at a minimum. One might ask, how receptive are these sectors we want to volunteer? The public and private sector may not entirely be receptive to volunteers willing to collaborate for community development, especially when it involves them opening up the operational systems to outsiders. We could institutionalize the concept of volunteering. Annual volunteer schemes can be drawn up to encourage more youth willing to volunteer. Annual volunteering schemes could be drawn up to encourage youth to volunteer, helping them gain valuable experience for employment. Government departments, private institutions could give an allocated time for volunteers to work with the officers. Schools could give credit hours that could count to the end of their, that could add up, that would contribute to their grading system. Offices can dedicate a day or two in the year which these institutions can use to give back to the communities. Personally, being a volunteer on several occasions, I've learned or I've experienced the benefits of volunteering, myself and my colleagues and friends who go out to volunteer regularly. One of the major benefits we have all experienced is humility and gratefulness. Volunteering keeps you in touch with reality. It helps you understand that you cannot take things for granted. It helps you mold your actions to be more responsible for the people we live among. It can create amazing networking opportunities. You are connected with citizens who are committed to nation building, who have a positive influence and genuinely have a satisfaction from simply helping others. You can explore new avenues in both your professional and academic lives. Volunteering has also helped to pick up new skills. It could make you ultimately a more interesting person. It improves your communication skills. It helps you to build confidence, to speak in public, to stand up for what is right. Most importantly, for the youth in Sierra Leone, volunteering can increase your chances of employment. Unemployment remains high among the youth. Volunteering can significantly boost your chances of employment simply by gaining valuable experience. Employers both in the public and private sector can easily identify employees passionate about community building. We can create a new standard or ideal for role models in our society. The people who inspire us need not be older than us. Volunteering could help us promote the concept that we can be inspired by the peers we live among. We can be inspired by people willing to serve the nation. As humans, we are more inspired by deeds than words. Young Sierra Leoneans can inspire each other by acts of service for development. With the majority of the population being 35 and under, we have the responsibility to mold our future. We cannot afford the luxury at this time to sit by idly, complacent, and identify every flaw in the country. We all grew up to stories of a Sierra Leone where the most essential sectors were effective and efficient. Technology has significantly increased our reach, and we can spread ideas and messages faster. Kelvin Kamara, aka American Stress, during the aftermath of the mudslide disaster, saved 40 lives and was able to provide emergency relief for the affected while he communicated with Sierra Leoneans at home and abroad via his Facebook live stream. Sadly, he lost his life due to pneumonia. While we can prevent some of these disasters and incidents, we cannot let our national heroes fight alone. We cannot wait for a national disaster to occur to invoke patriotism. When these things happen, we use hashtags Pray for Sierra Leone, only to be forgotten a few months later. While we pray for Sierra Leone, we must fulfill our vow by serving Sierra Leone. We can get behind wonderful initiatives like Transform Freetown. we must find ways to be involved, to reaffirm our vow, to remind us of the pledge we make to this nation. I would like to recite the first two lines of the National Pledge to remind you of the promise we make to this nation. I pledge my love and loyalty to my country, Sierra Leone. I vow to serve her faithfully at all times. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep this affirmation at the back of your minds and let it guide all your future endeavors. Thank you very much.